Welcome to TechMuze, a netcast designed to educate and inspire your musical creativity through tech, both technology and technique. Please visit techmuse.ca for show notes and more. Follow us all over the internet at TechMuze Podcast. And as always, enjoy the show. Good day and welcome back to TechMuze. This is episode 7 of the show, and I appreciate you stopping back for another listen. I hope you guys are enjoying what I've been dishing out here, and I am prepared to keep it coming as long as I am able to. For those of you who have been stopping by techmuse.ca to read the blog and to check out the video content that I've been posting up there, I appreciate that. You'll probably notice that there's been a bit of a redesign to the site, trying to basically streamline things, make it a little cleaner and clearer so that you can access the content with greater ease, and hopefully that's the impression that you're getting. Give me some feedback on that. Let me know what you think if you've got some ideas. There'll be some changes in the near future as well because it's still a work in progress, but it is what it is, and I hope that you enjoy it. I just wanted to let everyone know, please follow me on Twitter. I've actually been pretty active on Twitter lately and getting into it and having a good time talking with folks and getting some conversations flowing. You can find me on Twitter at TechMuze Podcast, twitter.com/TechMuze Podcast, if you want to get me there. That's a great way to get the little chit-chat happening. The other thing, actually, oddly enough, on the topic of social networking that I've been dabbling with is a new service out there called Empire Avenue, and it's more of a fun kind of, just for giggles kind of social campaigning. I don't even know exactly what you would call it, but basically you sign up there, and based on your Twitter status and your Facebook status, and LinkedIn, and there's a few other social media sites that you can connect to. You end up with a value. And like it's almost like stock trading. It's difficult to explain. You'll have to check it out. But you'll find TechMuze there, and I have a stock value of X and whatever it is, and you can buy shares in TechMuze and you can sell them. And it's not with real money. It's more of a game. It's with a virtual currency that they call Eves, and it's kind of neat. You can join communities. You can link up with folks. You can buy and sell your friends, and like I say, it's just for sort of shits and giggles, as they say. So check it out. It's called Empire Avenue, and you can buy shares in TechMuze if you want for virtual currency. So see what you think of that. Anyway, it's brand new. We'll see how it goes. The other thing I wanted to bring up is if you visit techmuse.ca, which I hope you do, of course, you'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen I've added a donate button. This is just, I figure if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you're interested in the content that I'm giving out here and you find that it adds value in some fashion or another to what you do, of course the content is and will always remain free. That's not going to change. I'm not going to start charging for any of this stuff because I don't think it's the right thing to do. But if you do want to help to sort of defray the costs of running the website and the time involved in producing the podcast and the video content on TechMuze TV, feel free to donate. $1, $10, $100, $1,000, $1 million. If you've got it, it all adds up as far as I'm concerned. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And of course, thank you in advance. A real quick one for Tech News today. I just wanted to bring to your attention the fact that Universal Audio and their UAD DSP-powered plugin suite, they've added a new plugin that I'm actually excited to try out. It's the Lexicon 224 Digital Reverb. For those of you in the know, you'll probably be aware that Lexicon probably holds the greatest reputation when it comes to reverbs and spatial type effects, ambient effects like that. They've been doing it for years. Their algorithms are, unparalleled in the industry. And some of the more classic things, of course, now in general are being brought up as plugins. And so this is just another one to add to the sort of the vintage hardware turned to software sort of trend that seems to be happening nowadays that I've spoken about in the past. So if you guys aren't familiar with UAD or Universal Audio in general, you should definitely check them out. I've got in my DAW PC, my production machine, I've got actually 3 UAD cards, PCI cards installed, and that allows me to have more DSP power because the UAD plugins, they require a shark. It's like a, how do you explain it? It's a DSP chip, basically, that runs the plugins. They don't run natively off your CPU like a lot of plugins do. Waves plugins, things like that. Most plugins actually run natively, which means they take the power for their mathematical processing from your CPU, from your system. So, which is, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you've got the DSP power, the DSP chips to power the plugins, then you can end up running a bunch of plugins that actually have very little impact on your system resources. So you end up with, for all intents and purposes, a slightly more powerful machine because of it when you're using those plugins. And that's an attractive feature of the UAD stuff. But to be honest with you, the quality of the plugins themselves are by far, in my opinion, the best on the market. Between Universal Audio's plugins and Waves plugins, I don't think you'd be wanting for anything else. There's a couple of sort of, niche plugins that we'll talk about later on that are handy to have and that add great value to your, great quality to your mixes if you know how to use them correctly. But in general, the DSP programmers over at Universal Audio are absolutely brilliant, and they model some of the most sought-after vintage gear on the market today and put it into plug-in form at a fraction of the cost. And you know how I feel about that. We've spoken about that before in previous episodes. So check out Universal Audio, check out the new Lexicon 224 digital reverb, and watch some of the videos that they have demonstrating these plugins in action. And if you can, watch those videos in your studio. Like, listen to the sound of those videos in your mix environment, because then you get a really good idea as to what these things do. If you listen to them on your little white Apple earbuds, nothing sounds good on those, and so you might not get the full appreciation for what these guys are doing. Universal Audio, check them out. So actually, on the in TechMuze today, on the topic of plugins, I kind of wanted to chat a little bit about some of the types of plugins that I find quite valuable in my workflow and in the quality of the end result that I'm able to achieve. In particular, I wanted to chat a little bit about using saturation type plugins to improve your sound or to get a different flavor out of your mixes. What do I mean by that? Saturation plugins, basically, their goal is to emulate the sort of harmonic dissonance and distortions and subtle, you could even go as far as to call them inaccuracies that take place when you use analog gear. And again, I've spoken about this in the past, and I think that it adds a certain flavor that people really find appealing and warm and musical and pleasant. In the early days of digital was always sort of saddled with the everyone seemed to think it was too harsh and clinical and too clean. People just weren't used to it. They were used to those scratchy old cassette tapes that they picked one off the floor in the truck and slapped it in the cassette deck and cranked it up to 11 and off you go. And there's a certain imperfection that happens in analog that actually is kind of pleasing to the ear. It's kind of musical sounding. That doesn't happen naturally in the digital environment. So there's a couple of plugins on the market that have been designed to emulate that and to bring some of that warmth and flavor and character back into your mixes, into your digital environment. One in particular that I use and have used for a long time, I use it on almost every mix somewhere in the mix, often on the drum bus, but is the PSP Vintage Warmer. PSP is the company. I believe they're a Polish company, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me on that if you feel free to call me on that if I'm wrong. The Vintage Warmer, there's Vintage Warmer 2, I believe, is the current version. And what this plugin does is exactly that. You put it on. It's not a night and day thing. And if you're kind of new to mixing and new to critical listening in general, you might play with these plugins and kind of be asking yourself, well, what the heck is it actually doing? Because it's not like